Hello and welcome to Sol y Luna Inspirations, the Healer and the Dreamer with Martin Comtois and myself, Dayana Robinson. Today we're excited to dive into the Capricorn New Moon coming up on Thursday, January 11th at 3:57 a.m.
Take your time. Sorry to cut you off there.
Well, it's probably also speaking fast, a good reminder to take my time.
Take your time. Yo, MC Starman here, Dayana Robinson.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us, and thank you all for the support and for massaging the algorithms. And we have a Capricorn New Moon to start off 2024. First new moon of the year. And how has the year gotten started for you, my dear?
Just starting off well. Lots of support and lots coming up for release. I pulled cards on the first, and support and surrender and release came up. So we can be sitting with those, digesting that, and where that's needed to be better incorporated.
I did an I Ching reading, and I'll share that with everybody a little bit later on. And for the Capricorn New Moon, we're going to pick a tarot card.
Queen of Wands.
The Queen of Wands. Very interesting. The Queen of Wands.
Woo.
Whoa. The Queen of Wands, fire signs. The Queen, so the sacred feminine in the fire signs. So very inspirational. The
black cat.
The black
Flowers.
cat, and then she's got lions as her symbols, and a sunflower, and as her posture, very open, huh? And very strong, feminine, intuitive nature. Beautiful. Let's see how that ties in with today's reading about taking your time. Let's look at the chart, my dear.
Yes. We have the chart here on the board, but we also want to show you this chart.
So, Sun, Moon, and Capricorn, the wisdom of the dark moon. The wisdom of the dark moon. You want to go back to the table? So we have a sun-moon conjunction. So what is a sun and moon conjunction? How do you relate with the new moon yourself?
Relate with it?
How is what's the new moon for you?
A time and opportunity for new beginnings, new intention setting. Yeah, it's also a very inward time. I feel definitely a lot more introverted versus full moons. I feel more extroverted.
Well, Jung wrote a lot about the new moon. This Mysterium Conjunctionis, his magnum opus, his most important book, was called The Mystery of the New Moon. And in alchemy, new moons don't have a very good reputation, because this is the only time of the month where the moon is not visible. So it's the dark moon, or the moon gets burnt up in the rays of the sun. And so that's, kind of a difficult time in the lunar cycle, where the moon is burnt up by the sun, disappears into the rays of the sun. And of course, in early astrology, the moon was the planet most associated with ourself and the body. And so then it's a time of combustion. It's a time of our energy sinking really low into the rebirth process. It's also the time of the seed planting, where the sun and the moon are in the marriage, the sacred marriage. And so it's a very important, but like you say, introverted time. And in new moon in Capricorn, how does that feel?
I was just gonna say, so if you say all that about the new moon, what's gonna happen when it's an archetype of Capricorn, which is the disciplinary, the
Well, the Capricorn,
structure.
right? The Capricorn is really concerned with giving form.
Mhm.
So then in the new moon in Capricorn, then it's very intentional, right? It's a time of deciding what it is that we're going to build.
Mm.
It's a time of considering what it is that we want to give form to.
Mm.
And so that's how I would see it, is it Capricornian new moon, Capricorn, being about giving form. Yeah.
Mhm. Capricorn can also be like, I know, connected with structures and organizing, so maybe how to organize ourselves so that we can give form to the dreams that Sagittarius may have brought us, and help us to better organize ourselves in a more practical way to the maybe high dreams of Sagittarius season.
Well, all Mercury, Venus, and Mars are all still in Sagittarius over here,
Mhm.
so that's still there. And then, but also what's really important with the new moon is that it's in conjunction with Pluto as well. And
Mm.
so is the next full moon. So the Plutonian need for rebirth and what it is that is inside of us that is dying to give birth to a higher manifestation of who we are. So we talked about that in the video of 2024. We talked about the importance of Pluto at the beginning of 2024, and here we're going to have the Sun Pluto conjunction, the Moon Pluto conjunction, and gradually Mars, Mercury, and Venus will join Pluto as well in the coming months, and so the Plutonian archetype is really very strongly constellated in this new moon.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
If you look at the chart also, you'll see that the new moon also makes a sextile to Neptune and a trine to Uranus. And so that the new moon, the sun and the moon, make no other contact except to Neptune, to Uranus, and to Pluto. And so then, but it's interesting how, if you notice, the triad of transformation is no longer an orb.
Mm-hmm.
So for the winter months, Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus are not going to be in orb. So that triangle we've been following for the last 8 months actually disappears in the first new moon of the year and reappears in May, end of April. And so, but the new moon, so I think that that's going to be kind of a relief. But this new moon making angle to Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, kind of reactivating the triad of transformation, kind of, so the new moon is go ahead.
Say shine some light on the collective crisis that we're still kind of working with.
Well, I think that whether we're thinking about it consciously or not, I think the tension, collective tensions, whether we're completely distracting ourselves from it or we're immersed in it, one way or the other, it's kind of in our focus, we're like, because we're experiencing the collective crisis in our very individual way. And how that manifests is very individual, but that, triad of transformation is moving all of us. And so I think that in this what am I going to give form to? It's really, this new moon is really, I think, the weight of the collective crisis of the Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto triad there. It's really on our mind. And so then trying to give form to a stability, that is kind of very difficult to find in these times because everything is shifting so rapidly. Does that make sense?
It does. Feels like a good, powerful new moon to start the year off, though, because I know that this collective reality, whether, like you said, conscious or not, it's really affecting everybody so much right now, and nice to find ways to give form to working with it in our personal ways.
But also the new moon will kind of suck all the energy out of the air. Because new moons are like that. And we've just been through to the holiday seasons, and we've been Sagittarianing, everything. We've been pushing, we've been celebrating, and then the shift of the sun into Capricorn has already happened, but we kind of been really high on Sagittarius, especially with Venus, Mercury, and Mars in Sagittarius. But now with the new moon and then Mars coming into Capricorn. Actually, Mars is already in Capricorn. And then, Mercury coming and joining Mars in Capricorn. Then, like, practical problems, practical solutions to complex problems. And a chance, a sense of maybe being overwhelmed by everything. And that's one of the reasons why we need to take our time, because taking our time allows us to really put intention and to analyze, use discernment and introspection to really see where we are and what we need to do, to think things through really well and to check in with our inner world for guidance and for, what is it that I want to build in my life. And so important times for sure, huh?
Yes, it's gonna be, I bet you, some grounding after this Sagittarius season, because even while everything's in Capricorn, as long as Venus is in Sag, it's still this Jupiter-Venus kind of rules everything still, right? Because this new moon is ruled by Pisces, which is Jupiter, and then it still keeps coming back to that Jupiter-Venus time that we're in.
Well, let's look at the rest of the slide here. So conjunct Pluto, trine Uranus, and sextile Neptune, so facing the collective crisis. There's wisdom in the dark moon. It's difficult, but there's wisdom in this connection between sun and moon, but it's difficult to access, and we have to slow down to access it. And so taking your time through this and embracing the dark moon as a gift, because I don't know if you experience this, but at the new moon, whenever the first crescent moon comes up, and you see the first crescent moon in the sky, it's always like a big smile to our face, so there's a rebirth of energy with the nuevo lunium, the new moon. But it is a difficult time, and it's kind of like the air gets all sucked out, and after all of this holidays, it's kind of normal, and this is kind of the time of the year. So let's look at what else is going on. So then Venus, Jupiter, mutual reception as the rulers of the chart. And we talked about that in our last video. Venus in Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter's in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. So every planet in the chart is ruled by that mutual reception. And so, but they don't make an angle to the moon and the sun. So I think it leaves us hankering, or what I say is, where's the love? Where is the love? And then Jupiterian, So this emancipation, so finding this higher expression of the love principle. So higher expression, Jupiter, Venus, the love principle. So where is that love? Where's that patience? Where's that wisdom? Where's that Sophia in our life? How do we express the feminine wisdom? That's how we can tie the Queen of Wands, so the fiery Venus, the fiery feminine, the Sophia feminine, the wisdom of God, the feminine wisdom of God. So where is that as we confront the reality of the new moon and our low energy and being overwhelmed by collective um, um, tensions, then to give room to Venus and Jupiter to be expressed creatively and hopefully to be very kind and compassionate and loving to ourselves, first of all, and to others, and to take our time as we set the pace for the coming year.
I like it. Exciting.
What else is coming up? Then we have the Mercury Mars conjunction. What are you building? So Mercury and Mars are coming together into Capricorn, and we'll have a date for you on that. So we talked about Mars in Capricorn as being the manifester, and then Mercury in Capricorn, it's a very deliberate and discipline, Mercurian energy, and a Mercury Mars conjunction. It's a very good time to write, a very good time again to introvert and to take our time and to go into our inner work. So that's how I would see Mercury Mars. How would you see Mercury Mars in Capricorn?
I guess, yeah, very similar. Like, it would be a great time to really put your thoughts and your intentions into form. So I think a lot of the time there's a lot of great ideas and inspirations out there, and we can have ideas on how we want to walk in the world, or new structures that we want to live by or create in our life. But then with that conjunction, it could give a lot more drive to making sure these things truly happen, and to practice acting in a way that we think, and acting in a structured way.
It's really the third Mercury Mars conjunction we see in the last few months, right? We had Mercury Mars conjunction when Mercury was going retrograde, but then we had a Mercury Mars conjunction in Libra earlier on in the fall. And so this is our third conjunction of Mercury and Mars, and the last one. And so it's something we've been deliberating, it's not something that's new to us. We're coming to, I don't know about you, but, I was in a lot of doubt about what, was 2024 going to look like and feel like in terms of my ideas and how I perceive and how do I approach this coming year. And so then this Mercury Mars conjunction's kind of been stirring up this deep questioning. And so I think that by now we kind of see, I don't know about you, but I kind of see, a patient and structured approach. I was talking to someone today, I was saying, they were asking me about what do I feel about 2024. I think that it's going to be a very fast-moving year, but progress is going to be very slow, right? It's like we don't have to go. Sometimes we go really fast and make no progress, and sometimes we go really slow and make lots of progress. I think that that's what this message of take your time is about, is to realize that if we're not very deliberate and very planned out, that that Jupiter Uranus conjunction we're going to have in April, that's going to bring a whole lot of intensity, and really things are going to move really fast. But that's not necessarily good, I think that slowing it down and being deliberate and taking our time for the long run, because as we looked at in 2024, the second half of 2024, or at least the last third of 2024, is going to be supercharged. And that's going to begin in the spring with that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. So taking your time, I think, is the best advice, and realize that you can get more done by doing less.
Mm.
And that's a paradox, isn't it? And just to be really busy doesn't mean that I'm making any progress. And so learning the difference between the two and being mindful of not getting caught up, just like that Queen of Wands, huh? She isn't really caught up in all of the go 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 of fire. There's a groundedness in the fire element that the Queen of Wands offers. That's a really beautiful thing to witness.
Of the fire.
Mhm.
Also reminds me of this silly phrase we use at work sometimes. This is the work smarter, not harder. Sometimes you'll go frazzly instead of stepping back and like, hey, what would be the most efficient way, or how can I do this in a smart, wise way versus feel overwhelmed or kind of run around crazy. Yeah.
Okay, there was one more thing to the new moon.
Saturn.
Yeah, Saturn, take your time. So Saturn is the Lord of time, and the timekeeper, and it's in a triad with Jupiter, and that sextile of Jupiter and Saturn begins the year. And as the year progresses, that Jupiter-Saturn trine will turn into a square. So we'll talk lots about Jupiter and Saturn this year. And we talked about Saturn and Pisces and how you're getting your Saturn returned. We just had a friend from Toronto write about how much she liked our videos and talked about her own Saturn return and her own Chiron action. And so really important time to create a safe container, and again, that's the take your time business, just be disciplined about what you're doing, set up structures for your life and stick to those structures, because as you go along, the craziness of the year will get going, and then you'll be well grounded.
Beautiful reminder. And the last part of the triad is the Jupiter trining this Mercury Mars conjunction. I guess it's trining Mars right now, but Mercury's coming in there soon. And then back to Saturn. So that take your time. There's this like discipline, expansion, and will all working together.
Right. And so this Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury, Mars will be in orb for quite a while. At the beginning of the year here, it will be in orb all the way through to the full moon. So then having the discipline, Saturn, the enthusiasm, Jupiter, and the Mercury, Mars, attentiveness to our intentions. So setting intention, and that Mercury Mars is a great writing combination. Blah, 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 blah. Another thing I wanted to say about take your time, taking your time can be seen in a different way too. It can be seen as the greatest revolutionary activity of our time, because we have so much pressure on our time, collective pressure, to go, do, go, do. that, and the mass media and this, the technology, it gives us an illusion that we're getting things done because we're moving fast. Taking your time or taking back your time from the things that steal your time away, right? Too much time online, too much time, being absorbed in technology, too much time wasting time. So taking your time, and using it into and investing it into your inner practice makes for a healthier sense of self. And then we become more, what would you say, more effective,
More whole, grounded.
but also effective.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that we need to go fast to get a lot done. Stephen Covey calls it the urgency addiction. We just like to do things and we think we're getting things done, but to put first things first, what's really important, and work on those things. That book, First Things First by Stephen Covey, really an important book. Let's look at the important dates, the alchemical dates of this opportunities. So Sun Trines Uranus on the 9th. On the 11th, we have the Capricorn New Moon. And then on the 12th, Moon conjunct Pluto. So the 11th and the 12th, really important.
It'll be probably a pretty inward, heavier weekend, hey?
I would imagine that energy will be pretty low and that we'll be invited to make the descent and to see the wisdom of the dark moon. Because there's a tremendous rebirth available. And in our day and age, we don't like to go into the dark, but go into the dark is where the light is born. And so very important opportunity for rebirth. Then on the 15th, Mercury comes into Capricorn.
And then on the 19th January, the Sun conjuncts Pluto.
So then really from the 11th to, to the next full moon, really, the Sun is in conjunction with Pluto. And then the moon will be in opposition to Pluto as well. So then really this Plutonian message of going into the depth, using your practice and your tools to mine for the alchemical gold. And to take your time to do these things will really bring about a lot of benefit. Then on the 25th is the
Leo full moon.
Leo full moon, and on the 26th, Mercury Mars conjunction. All those are really important dates, and we forgot to add January 25th there. The
full moon.
The full moon in Leo.
Actually, there's another one which is Pluto ingressing into Aquarius, which I think is on the 22nd, but double check that on me.
So the Sun and the Moon and Mars and Mercury and Venus, they're all assisting Pluto coming into Capricorn. And our next video will be on Pluto entering into Capricorn.
Into Aquarius.
Into Aquarius, and it's going to be take 2. Because this is our second.
I like it.
Yeah.
There'll be a third too then.
Okay, so that's our video, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, did you want to share something from your book?
Yes. So in terms of taking your time, I was doing a reading on New Year's Day, and I got the Taming Power of the Great.
This is from the I Ching.
From the I Ching, yes, the I Ching. 26, Ta Chu. I had a little farm for about 5 years in the interior, and I called it the Ta Chu Collective. And Ta Chu means so what it is the mountain, heaven and the mountain, the taming power of the great. And here it says that the trigram Ken, which holds the trigram Chien still, gives the idea of holding firm in the sense of holding back. I'm sorry, that's the wrong thing. Can indicate, so Chien points to strong creative power, Ken indicates firmness and truth. Both point to light and clarity and to the daily renewal of character. Only through such daily self-renewal can a man continue at the height of his powers. And so heaven and the mountain is keeping still, heaven is the creative. So in the mountain is stored up creativity, and the way to access that creativity is through the daily practice of self-renewal, which is like mining. And so then in that sense, taking your time has another meaning. That is, not that we just take our time, but that we take our time for practice, for inner search, for inner renewal. And if we do that, then we will have the energy necessary. And that's a great paradox, huh? That if we learn to take our time and have strong practice, then we'll be more equipped to deal with what's ahead. I was watching a show about a French psychologist who was saying about a child, if you tell the child to hurry up, it stresses them out. She was talking about learning to tie the shoes of the child. And she was saying that if you are telling the child to hurry up, he'll get all flustered, and then you'll end up having to tie his shoe because he can't do it. And then by the end of the school year, you'll still be tying his shoe. But if you tell him, take your time, then she'll focus and succeed. And within 4 days, they'll know, the child will know how to tie his shoes. So you can actually benefit the child more by telling the child to take his time. So like you pushing ourselves, we push ourselves, we hurry up. If we replace that from take my time, take your time, then all of a sudden I become much more relaxed. And all I'm doing is saying, instead of saying hurry up, I'm saying take your time. Do my journaling, do the things that I need to do. There'll be lots of time. And that's a relationship with time that we develop. And if we learn to do that, we'll be much better equipped to navigate this powerful year that's coming ahead.
That's a great mappery. Thank you.
You're welcome. So the Queen of Wands and the Moon in Capricorn says, take your time. Thanks for supporting us. Hit the like button, subscribe, share, massage the algorithms. We'll keep them coming. Dayana?
Montan?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye for now, everyone.
Bye.
Take your time.